What's going on, guys? So today we're looking at a knife from Protech, and this is their collaboration with Spyderco Knives, and this is the SNG in green. So before I get into the knife, I have to give a little bit of history here. Spyderco has really been a top-notch company for many years. Back in the day, my day, I would say like, mid to late 90s, all the way into the early 2000s. There was the holy trinity of knives. There were three knives you had to try. Three knives that were part of the holy grail, the holy trinity. So those knives were, number one, a Chris Reeve Sebenza. Didn't matter which one, you gotta try a Sebenza before you die. Number two, a Rick Hinderer XM18. Doesn't matter which flavor, which version, doesn't really matter. Have to try one before you die. And number three, a Spyderco SNG. There you go. That was the holy trinity. That was the top tier for semi-production knives in America for knife collectors. Just hands down, those are the top three knives talked about constantly. And then of course there's fans of each. People, the Spyderco fans would argue with the Chris Reeve fans, and they would argue with the Rick Hinderer fans, and some people would say, oh, they're all great, and went back and forth. So of course, all three of these brands have their following, and then there's just everyone else that recognizes that all three made fantastic knives. So what happened was Protech, which is arguably one of, if not the best automatic knife maker in the world, collabed with Spyderco and made an automatic version of the SNG. So it's a Spyderco design, completely produced by Protech. So simply put. So this one is the green one, the 2401, all right? You can see this one has the solid green aluminum handles. It's a 7075 aluminum, stonewash blade, plain edge. Of course, there's different variants of this knife. They also did this with like the PT. I'm not sure if they did this with other Spyderco models, but just really cool concept. And obviously, if you're a fan of both, it's a must-have knife. When these first came out, they were $200. I don't believe they're currently available. So this is just a quick peek at this knife. I've actually had this for months, like probably 6 months. This has been sitting on my desk. And I play with it every now and again, never got to actually use it. Obviously in Pennsylvania, I have a restriction on carrying automatic knives. When I test them out, it's usually stuff around the house. But I just had so many other projects I just never got to it. And then I literally wanted to start using this to do a review on it. And someone had a knife that I wanted, and I offered it for trade, and they accepted it. So I'm not going to get a chance to use this. This is not a review of the knife. This is just a first look in case you've never seen this before. So first off, I think the box is kind of neat, something a little bit different. There's a little sliding sleeve here, and you can see we expose a little crack. Okay, and that crack is basically the flap. So that's how the box opens. So when this is half over it, it won't accidentally open. Pretty cool. I like that. Something a little different. So anyway, open the flap. You can pause the screen there if you'd like to read that. And here's the knife. Pop it out. We also have our nice bag that's in here as well. It's actually a really nice bag. All right, with the drawstring, little canvas drawstring there, and then of course you can read that. Limited lifetime warranty for the knives. I'm not even going to pull the card out, but if you're interested, you can poke in there, or you can go to the website. I'm sure it's on there as well. But anyway, take a look at this knife. So that's exactly what we have. Nothing more, nothing less. We have an SNG silhouette made by Protech. All right, this is an automatic. You can see there is no safety switch on here. It is just our button. The button is recessed into the handle. Okay, so in the pocket, it would be kind of rare, although not impossible for something to push or put pressure on that button to accidentally open it. Didn't carry this one, so don't know personally, but there it is. Fires very nicely, very strong. You have to have kind of a firm hold on it. If you kind of, loosely hold these autos, they're going to swing around on you. All right, as soon as that locks up, it's going to kick out that bottom end. But nice firm grip, and it's pretty good. I mean, as far as the coil spring that's in here, which is wrapped around the pivot, very simple. Push button or push lock is the mechanism, but then throw in a coil, and then you have an automatic knife. As far as like the speed of opening, it's not the fastest, but it's totally adequate. It's not slow by any means. I do like it. Once open, it does lock up very nice. There's no blade play in any direction. All right, take a look at it here. Come in and look at the blade markings. Protech USA, 154 cm. It's that nice stonewash blade. like the grinds, the lines, everything else. And of course we have the Strider logo on the other side. All right, very simple hardware. It's kind of interesting that the pivot and the button are kind of polished, and these body screws, or the heads, have kind of a more of a satin finish on it. All right, very nice green aluminum. You can see here this is marked, serialized. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can see PR4 number 356. Very cool. Pot clip on the back works fine. I mean, if you're familiar with the Strider SNG, it's that. It's just an automatic version of it made by Protech. What's kind of interesting is that some people have pointed out, and I kind of agree, is that Protech made the knife better than Strider did. Now, here's the thing. Let me go back a little bit in history. Back then, when you had the holy trinity of knives, right? Those were like top tier knives at the time. And there was plenty of really nice quality knives in the market, but it can't even compete with half of what's out today. Today, right now, is the best time to be a knife collector in history, because there's never been as many options are there now. And there's so much competition with the Chinese market coming in and putting out really high quality stuff and really competing with all these American companies. And it's just, there's so many really, really nice high-end options out there. All right, for just a utility little, folding knife, for your EDC or everyday carry. So that being said, step back a little bit. It's late 90s, early 2000s. Strider is making a fantastic knife, and I haven't had a Strider in years, so I can't speak personally to what their quality is like right now. But of course, I talk to knife people constantly. And, some people have complaints, oh, I was disappointed. I finally got a Strider, kept hearing things about them. And, mine had lock stick, and someone else is like, yeah, mine had a little blade play and this and that and the other thing. And, for the price you pay for these knives, of course, you wouldn't expect any of that stuff. You want a pretty perfect knife, right? Protech is a very high-end company. They make really, really nice stuff. The fit and finish is always fantastic. It's a really good company, and not to say Strider's not. Strider has made fantastic knives, but I don't know what they're like today. I don't know if back then they were so good, but now when you have, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have your original Strider SNG, right? And then back then you had the Holy Trinity, right? You had the other two, plus maybe a handful here and there. And then, in comparison to these 20 knives, yeah, it's great quality. But now there's not like 20 options. There's like 2,000 options. There's like 20,000 options. I'm not even kidding. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of knives out there. So once you start, building those options, now all of a sudden, hey, if your knife has lock stick in the, $200, $300, $400 price range, that's a no-no. That's not even acceptable. Back then, more expensive knives, maybe it was a little more acceptable because it was a little more common or whatever. But it's like little stuff like that. It just adds up. So in other words, great knives then aren't so great today. In fact, I might make a whole nother video about that subject in the future. And I'm not picking on Strider. I love the company. I would pick up any of their knives at any time. I've had personally great experiences with them. I've had multiple SNGs. I had an SMF. I did have a PT. I think I had it's been so long. Some kind of, it had no pocket clip on it, and I think it was rounded and stuff. There were so many different variants on that knife. But I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. I think they make quality cutlery. But again, I can't speak to what it's been like for the last 6 or 7 years. I just haven't had a Strider in my hands. It's just one of those things. But as far as this specific knife, it's fantastic. If you're not familiar with the design, of course, you have the standard grip here. The butt end flares out. And then, of course, you could choke up, okay? And in choking up, it feels very nice. There is jimping on the back of the blade here. You have a very secure grip. Down here, not as much. my thumb doesn't really land, comfortably. Well, I guess it does kind of land here, but naturally, I want to grab the bulk of this handle, right in the palm here. And when I do that, my thumb comes a little short of that. So I guess maybe there's 3 grips. You're kind of choking down on it a little bit here. Then you have the standard grip, which feels great, and then you have the forward grip, which feels even better, more control. But in this choke down type position, everything's very smooth. Just something I happen to know. It's just kind of playing around with it. Of course, carrying it, using it, and cutting it, that's a whole different thing. This is just initial impressions. Pocket clip seems totally fine. There's going to be a ton of knife hanging out of that pocket. Okay, people are definitely going to know you got a big old knife in here or something. There's a lanyard hold on here, and then of course the classic Strider, cut on this handle allows you to put it in reverse grip and have a very comfortable, large place to rest your thumb. Okay, that 45 cut on there, it is really nice for stabbing. Like, again, I've talked about this before. I don't know of too many utilitarian reasons for stabbing stuff, but if you want to stab stuff, this is one of the more comfortable designs out there, period. Always has been. Easy to sharpen. You can see we have this kind of like hook type shape here on the edge of the blade, and that acts as a blade choil. And then obviously we have our finger choil underneath it. This is not a thumb stud, all right? This is a blade stop, the pin that goes through there, all right? So, closed, it almost looks like it'd be a thumb stud. Obviously the manual versions, some people have done that. In fact, I did it when I first had one. I didn't know, but it's a blade stop. But yeah, I mean, Protech did a knockout job on this. It is awesome. Again, this is the green 7075 aluminum version of it. 3.5 inch blade, that 154 cm. All right, it's 8.25 inches overall. It's flat ground, drop point blade. Just again, total classic design. If you've been around knives for many years, you know the Strider knives, right? Whether you had them or not, you've heard of them, you've seen them. They've been very popularized. And Protech just ran with one of their designs. I think they did a knockout job on it. It's a simple auto, again, no safety. It's just push the button to open it. Locks up nice and strong. When you want to close it, push that button to close it. You could do this one-handed if you're creative and you kind of push the blade on the back of your pant leg or something. What you could do, and I can't obviously demonstrate this right now, but I've done this with autos before. If I needed one-handed, I'll move my fingers out of the way, push down the button, and I put this kind of like on my back. Like, let's say here's my body. Okay, I'm standing here. This is my right arm sticking out. So I have my little knife. There's my right hand. I do my cutting. I push the button. I reach behind my back, and I just do this, like on the side of my body. It's a weird demonstration, but yeah, I mean, you can easily close these one-handed if you needed to. Like if you're using it for construction or something, or you're on a ladder and you just are holding something else. Who knows? But anyway, that is it. That is the Protech Strider collab for the SNG in green and stonewash. Fantastic knife, and I'm sure the next owner is going to absolutely love it. What am I trading for? Well, you will see in the future. I will tell you it's another old discontinued knife. So that is it for now. Let me know if you have had one of the Protech Strider collabs, and let everyone know down in the comment section what you thought of it. But I'm thoroughly impressed. A little bit of a shame I won't have a chance to actually use this one, but it would be the same as far as its function to a regular SNG. This one just happens to be an automatic, which is kind of cool. So that's all. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.